Baseball on Sportsnet. From Rogers Center in downtown Toronto, we welcome you to Blue Jays Baseball. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Joe Siddall and Hazel May down on the field as the Toronto Blue Jays host a 1993 World Series rematch against the Philadelphia Phillies. Some fans still holding on to it a little bit as the Blue Jays welcome in one of the more talented teams in baseball, certainly in the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies, with a lot of big names, and Brandon Marsh is starting to join them as well. He's Major League Baseball's leader in batting average as we enter play tonight. He will hit right behind that trio of all-star caliber players. It's a very tough lineup to navigate tonight for Blue Jays starter Patrick Corbin.
Patrick Corbin took the loss in his last start in Atlanta. He allowed 4 runs over 5 innings, including a home run. That ERA still under 4 in his 11 starts this season. He was coming off 2 starts where he allowed just 1 run each at Baltimore and against the Pittsburgh Pirates right here at the Rogers Center. So he's looking to get back on track against a tough Phillies lineup, and they've got some left-handers in there. That's advantage Corbin, but some pretty good left-handers that can do some damage. Defensively behind Corbin tonight for the Blue Jays, Yohendrick Pinango gets the start in left field. Miles Straw in center. He's a former Gold Glover. Varsho still out with that sore wrist. Nathan Lucas in right. And on the infield, it's Okamoto and Jimenez on the left side. Clement and Guerrero Jr. on the right. And Tyler Heineman back behind the plate. Brandon Valenzuela has been being worked pretty hard. He's got a night off tonight, perhaps. Maybe not a whole night, but at least a start.
Valenzuela obviously having a great run of late. Tyler Heineman and Patrick Corbin will be the battery for the Blue Jays, and it's Corbin against an NL East team, a team he would have matched up with a lot when he was a National for his 2nd straight start after the Braves got him for a season-high tying 4 earned runs in his most recent start. He'll begin with the most dangerous leadoff hitter in Major League Baseball, Kyle Schwarber. Good way to start his day. A cutter right on the corner as we get underway at 7:08 Eastern on an 18-degree, beautiful day here in Toronto.
A lot of sinkers, cutters, sliders to the left-handers from Corbin. He'll mix in the odd 4-seamer up top. He is not a left-handed hitter that is afraid of left-handed pitching. He can hit, and he can hit for damage.
23 home runs this year, shooing for about 40 every year. The 0-2 pitch is low, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Very disciplined hitter too. Hard to get him to expand too much.
The 1-2 pitch. Just down and away, says Jansen Visconti. Tyler Heineman liked the spot. That's a real disciplined take. That's part of why you have a guy like Schwarber at the top of the order, even if it looks a little odd. 2-2. Another good take.
This is what I mean. He's very disciplined. It's hard to get him to expand like that, and he works you in that leadoff spot. Not only that, but the potential to really get you with the long ball. Very dangerous hitter.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out on a slider in the zone, and that's a good start to the night for Patrick Corbin.
Well, it feels like against Schwarber, you have to stay in the zone. Could not get him to expand, so he goes right back in there with a slider. Schwarber comes up empty.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using code STRIKEOUT. Now it's Patrick Corbin's former teammate Trey Turner. He just started him with a 58-mile-an-hour curveball. Doesn't throw a curveball in general much, and you can see that Turner reacted a bit. Now a swing and a miss, 1-1. Those 2 teammates on the 2019 World Champion Washington Nationals.
Do you think that was a little bit of a joke to his
a little nod?
Old mate?
1-1. Inside. I mean, if you remember all the way back to last spring, Trey Turner, when ABS challenges were first being introduced, challenged the Max Scherzer pitch right down the middle to mess with Max, another member of that team. On the ground toward the shortstop Jimenez. Turner's got speed, and the throw takes Vladdy off the bag, but he'll tag him for the second out. Jimenez grateful for Guerrero's improvisation. 2 down.
Well, this is why you run balls out as a hitter. You just never know if the throw is offline, and Vladdy does a nice job by moving to his left and getting with a little swipe tag, making sure he doesn't get that wrist in any position where he could be injured.
Two outs, and the two-time National League MVP Bryce Harper at the plate. Not a member of that Nationals team. Actually left the year before Corbin got there, but he's seen Corbin a ton. This is the 57th time Bryce Harper has faced Patrick Corbin in his career. Tough top third of the order. It would be big for Corbin to pitch a clean top of the first. His 1-1. It's all around the zone. Even the misses, Joe, are pretty close.
Well, you'll see where he'll move that sinker around. I think we'll see a similar approach on the other side from Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies.
Harper swats one high in the air, deep left. Pinyango still going back, and it's off his glove, down on the warning track. Harper decides to go back to first, but he's on with 2 outs.
Well, this ball is slicing away from Pinyango, but he is going to be angry with himself. This is a ball that has to be caught, and we've seen a lot of the struggles from this left fielder. You see Hendrick, he is there. He's right there to catch it, and just went right off the heel of his glove.
They rule it an error on Pinyango. See Bryce Harper here coming out of the box. He's expecting that ball to be caught, and by the time he tries to gear up, it's too late. So the Blue Jays get a break in a way, as Harper's only on first. Now Brandon Marsh is up. At .338 average, leading the majors right now.
Marsh has handled himself pretty well against left-handers as well, not to the degree that he has right-handers, but he can still handle himself in the batter's box. See how he is with 2 strikes.
Harper on first in the 0-2 is cut on and missed, strike 3. Very nice start to the day for Patrick Corbin, who punches out 2 in his scoreless top of the first inning. Right now at the Rogers Center video board, the reliever who pitched in parts of 7 seasons with the Blue Jays, particularly important in their 2023 run to the postseason, is back with the Phillies. And cool to see him get the recognition here in Toronto.
And they don't come any more humble than Tim Mesa. The left-hander appreciates it from the home crowd.
Mesa is going to have to wait a little bit to pitch against this Blue Jays lineup that they trot out there today. And right near the middle of that order is one of the hottest Blue Jays hitters right now, Kazuma Okamoto, who had a big run-scoring hit in yesterday's win over the Orioles. Continues to produce, and he will try to do so against the incredibly tough lefty Christopher Sanchez. First pitch to George Springer, called a strike.
Well, in the open, when I described his 3 pitches, the sinker, the changeup, and the slider, this is what we're going to see, different variations of it. He may sink it away. He may sink it inside to a right-hand hitter. So there is a lot more to handle than meets the eye. And there's a sinker right there. So George is brushing off a little bit, and it actually comes back. The changeups are another pitch. It's his best pitch, probably. And what he'll do with that changeup is 3 and 4 different things. He can fade it away, and he's going to get a lot of chase with that changeup. That'll be the biggest challenge for this Blue Jays lineup tonight, because they do chase a bit.
Sanchez allowed a run in his last start. That snapped a 50 2/3 innings consecutive scoreless streak, the longest by a left-handed pitcher since 1893, and the 5th longest in modern Major League history. Flare down the right field line, and that'll go foul.
And this is exactly what I mean. Now, he's got George 0-2, but a lot of the right-handers are going to get a lot of this. Look at the target from Real Muto. It's off the plate away, and he gets it right out there. He's trying to get that swing, and that's when the Blue Jays hitters have gotten themselves in a lot of trouble this season. Now, on the flip side, he's a guy that's not going to walk many, and they've done well against some really good pitchers this year. Probably guys that are being around the plate a little more, so maybe they can lean into one or two of those sinkers tonight.
Swing and a miss at that fastball elevated, and there's the first strikeout for Sanchez.
It's a good sinker. You'll get different movement at times. You see those fingers right along the two seams. You call it a two-seam fastball, sinker with the seams, and that's what gives it that little movement running away. You see the reaction of George right there. That speaks volumes.
Well, he's a right-handed hitter. How about the day the lefties have today against Sanchez? Nathan Lucas takes inside. Lucas is 1 for 6 against lefties this year. He's actually been hit by 2 pitches off lefties in 9 plate appearances. Almost just got hit by a third one. He's also got a walk, so he's actually made his way on base against lefties a fair bit, even with only 1 hit.
And that's why when I used the word compete, that's the word Nathan used to me today. I said, how do you, this is a really, really good pitcher, obviously one of the best in baseball, but he's even tougher left on left. And he said, you just battle, you compete, and you just try. That's what he does. Every at-bat he takes, it seems like that's what he's doing. He's just trying to outwork the pitcher.
He hits this one sharply, and a nice grab at third by Bohm. Appeared to just hold on as he went to the ground. 2 down.
Well, breaking ball away. It looked like he may have gotten it toward the end of the bat just a bit, but with Bohm in at third base, his big tall frame's just big enough to come up with the baseball.
Credit that one to infield coach Bobby Dickerson on good positioning for the Phillies. 2 down, and now Vladimir Guerrero Jr. takes downstairs from his Dominican Republic teammate this World Baseball Classic, Christopher Sanchez. It's 1-0. Swing and a fly ball center field. Marsh has a beat on it toward right center, and Sanchez puts away the Blue Jays in the bottom of the first. Patrick Corbin back on the hill when we come back for the second inning between the Blue Jays and the Phillies.
Welcome back. Well, Ernie Clement continues to get the job done on both sides of the ball. After a slow start defensively, we've seen him return to making outstanding plays in the infield. As for in the batter's box, he comes into tonight leading the American League with 77 hits. But what really excites Clement is the potential of this 2026 Blue Jays group when healthy and when they're playing to their capabilities. I think this team has a chance to be better than last year. We're a really good team. We have a chance to be a great team. Clement believes there's been a shift where guys are understanding their roles now. He acknowledged mistakes are going to happen throughout the course of a long season, but as long as they rally around each other and pick each other up, that's how they're going to win baseball games. Even though they've dealt with countless injuries, Ben, to start the year, he has an optimistic outlook on the road ahead. Quote, I think we're right where we need to be. Guys?
I think a lot of Blue Jays fans like to hear that. And worth noting, after the Blue Jays got off to a tough 20-game start of 7-13, they're 25-21 since then, which is not necessarily a pennant-winning pace at that exact number, but they have started to move in the right direction.
Yeah, it feels like, and we've heard the analogies of taking a few steps forward, a couple steps back, or whatever number you want to use, but it's really been a lot of that treading water that we talked about early in the season, of trying to get through all of these injuries and just hang around. It may not be where they want to be right now, but when you look at the standings and you look at the rest of the league, they're in a fine spot. They've got 2 pitchers coming back in the next couple of days in Dylan Cease, and hopefully Max Scherzer can get back to regaining some form. So once the arms become a little bit more healthy, the bottom line for me, Ben, is for this team to start hitting and scoring runs more consistently, because that's what's going to take the load off your relief pitchers, and we know they've been worked hard.
Corbin with a 5-pitch walk to begin the top of the second inning. A free pass given to Alec Bohm.
Saw Shane Bieber in the clubhouse today. I'm sure Pete Walker can't wait to get him back. He's getting closer. Probably a couple of rehab starts.
And maybe a little bit more under the radar, but today Tommy Nance activated for the Blue Jays, put back in their bullpen. He's been a very steady force for them. JT Realmuto, the catcher for the Phillies, one of the great catchers of this generation, takes a strike.
Realmuto has been doing it a long time. 13th season. It's hard to remember. He started back with the Marlins.
Yeah, this is his 8th year with the Phillies. He just re-upped with them this offseason on a 3-year, $45 million deal. Came in that big day where in the span of about maybe 2 days, 24 to 36 hours, Tucker went to the Dodgers, Bo Bichette went to the Mets, and then Realmuto signed with the Phillies right at the tail end.
He has been an all-star a few times, a couple of gold gloves, but now 35 years old.
There's Don Mattingly, interim manager for the Philadelphia Phillies, 3-year Blue Jays bench coach. On the ground at third base, Okamoto's got it to Clement. One over to first in time. A 5-4-3 double play, and there are 2 outs with the bases empty.
Well, it's all about pitch execution, and it looked like this fastball got in on his hands. You see the target more middle away. Sometimes you get away with it. Patrick Corbin will take it, but you see how it tied him up. Okamoto, no panic whatsoever. Good turn by Clement to get Realmuto. Runs pretty well for a catcher.
You're allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that. So the base is wiped clean for Bryson Stott, the second baseman. Had a big hit for the Phillies yesterday in their win over the White Sox. Beat the White Sox in the rubber match of that series.
See those numbers. It's been a struggle for Stott. Another one of the Phillies hitters that really has not gotten going. I mean, aside from Schwarber and Harper and Marsh, there has not been a ton of offense going on with this Phillies club.
You look at the lineup and you expect a lot of offense, and probably more will come. But the Phillies enter today 25th in runs per game in Major League Baseball, just over 4 per game. The Blue Jays are tied for 21st. And certainly that guy's doing his part with 23 home runs.
Adolis Garcia was brought in, but that hasn't worked out very well as the right fielder.
Stott is part of this contingent along with Marsh and Bohm. Yes, they have Harper. Yes, they have Schwarber and Turner. Those guys are starting to move into the back half of their careers or are already in it. The Stott, Marsh, Bohm group are kind of more in their primes. They're supposed to be taking a little bit more of that production, as the other guys maybe are expected to do just a little bit less.
This is a team with high expectations, right? You look at their payroll, it's the top 5 payroll most years. 4 straight times they've been to the postseason.
Patrick Corbin with a 1-2. Missed there with a slider. They were in the World Series 2022, lost to the Houston Astros.
Lost a couple of division series, lost a championship series and a World Series in those 4 seasons. And that's why I think if you're David Dombrowski, speaking with him today down in the Phillies dugout just before batting practice, and he's aware, everyone's aware of what it's like around the league. There's a former Blue Jay and Stuart Burrow. Yes, familiar face.
2024 Blue Jay.
But everyone knows it's all about getting there, and I think that's the mentality when you're not. The Phillies have to deal with the Atlanta Braves in first place in their division. They're just running away with things. But you get there, you can make a lot of things happen in the month of October, and the Blue Jays certainly found that out last year.
By the way, pretty good at bat here by Bryson Stott. 8 pitches, a lot of sinkers and sliders. Here's a 2-2. And it's hit on the line to right center field and down in the gap. Stott rounding first, headed for second, and he's got a 2-out stand-up double.
Very nice piece of hitting by Stott right there, really going down to get that pitch. And as you said, good at bat, battling a lot of tough pitches. And when you get that pitch down in the zone like that, it's a cutter left on left. He stayed with it very well.
Corbin had thrown 7 combined sinkers and sliders and kind of got boxed out of that pitch by all the foul balls by Stott. Went with something else and Stott punished it. Here is the aforementioned Adolis Garcia. Adolis Garcia, big part of the 2023 Rangers World Series club. First year with Philly.
This is a guy that's hit 30 home runs a couple of times. 27, 25 a couple of other times. There's a lot of power in this bat, but it just has not been working so far this year in his new uniform. A lot more success against lefties, as you see there. That'll be the challenge for Corbin.
With the power of Garcia and first base unoccupied right now, does that change the way that you pitch to him, or are you still going right at him?
I don't think so. I go by what a hitter is doing right now, and when you look at how he has been doing this season, and more important recently, this is a guy you have to go after. You get this guy and you end the inning, then you've got the number 9 hitter leading off the next inning, and that's an ideal situation for a pitcher. Number 9 hitter being Edmundo Sosa, who is just a utility part-time player.
Hit high in the air, deep left field. Piñango turning, it's gone. Garcia crushes his 7th homer of the season, and the Phillies strike first 2-0 here in Toronto.
Well, from one of the unlikelier sources, but Adolis Garcia did not miss that one. And there's that power potential we have seen in the past in a Rangers uniform. And now he is trying to get it going in a Phillies uniform, his 7th of the season.
You can see Corbin knew it right away. They were trying to work that slider, it seemed like, a little bit more in. So rally created all after 2 outs and the bases empty. There was the leadoff walk, but then a ground ball double play. And it's interesting, that was kind of similar to Corbin's last outing too. He had all of his base runners come with 2 outs after 2 outs and the bases empty in Atlanta.
Well, you credit the hitter for putting a swing on that. It's a 2-1 slider. As a hitter, you're ahead of the count, sure, but throws a breaking ball at the bottom of the zone. You're not expecting that to get hit on the ballpark. But Garcia was all over it.
Strikeout there of Edmundo Sosa, but damage done with 2 outs by the Phillies. Adolis Garcia, 7th home run of the year.
The first thing for me that comes to mind is it's a real challenge for hitters when you're facing a top dog on the other side, whether it's an ERA leader or the ace of the staff or top of the rotation guy. It's a challenge for hitters. It's something that you can look forward to and be motivated by. But I think too, it's not just you can't look at the entire game. It's that inning to inning, at bat to at bat. I remember the Skeens game. He'd only given up 1 run through 5 innings, but they were having good at bats, and they really grinded him. In that 6th inning, that's when they got to him that 3rd time through the order. Sandy Alcantara, same thing. It was that 6-run 6th. You remember that grand slam by Jesus Sanchez. So it's these at bats here are what count, because hopefully you're grinding him down, you're making him work, making him execute great pitches, because you may not get him in the 1st or 2nd, but you may get him in the 5th or 6th.
Kazuma Okamoto leading off the bottom of the 2nd. Sinker called a strike right there, probably inside off the plate, but it's 0-2. It's Jansen Visconti calling balls and strikes in this one. And there's a strikeout. That's exactly how Christopher Sanchez wants to get you out. Couple of sinkers and then a changeup low.
That's textbook stuff right there. Used both sides of the plate with his sinker. And then look at the rotation on that baseball, just diving down and away, arm side away from the right-handed batter. And the best trait that a pitcher can have with that changeup is that arm speed. It really sells it to the hitter, looking like a fastball.
Of the 107 strikeouts for Sanchez so far this year, 69 of them on that changeup.
Lots of swing and miss with that pitch. And like the strikeout pitch, oftentimes it can be out of the zone. That's what he gets you to do.
Ernie Clement's seen a couple of fastballs in the zone, fouled them away. Does that signal to you that maybe he's looking for that changeup, Joe? If he's,
I don't think so. I think it's because that sinker. Remember, I talked earlier about how it may look like a sinker right down the middle, but one sinker may look different than another sinker. One might run in, one might sink away, one might go straight down. Tried to come inside that time with it. He will move that pitch around. I don't think you go up looking for the changeup from Christopher Sanchez. That to me is
you just hope it doesn't come.
A fruitless labor. Try to get on one of these sinkers, but in Ernie's case, he's missed a couple. And then you got to try to hit that one.
That was the changeup. He somehow got down there.
That's Ernie, though, right? Ernie,
yeah.
We've seen that he can get to almost anything. There's that changeup grip. And once you get to 2 strikes, you are battling your tail off to put it in play.
One of the highest chase rates and yet lowest strikeout rates in all baseball belongs to Ernie Clement. That time he lays off the change. It's these kinds of pitches that has Sanchez right in the Cy Young mix again. He was the runner-up in the National League last year. And he strikes out Clement, sticking with that changeup. 2 away.
And I can promise you one thing, Ben, it looks a lot different in the batter's box than it does on our monitors and on people's TV screens at home. That pitch looks like a fastball most of the way on the outer part of the plate that you can handle with 2 strikes, and then it just disappears down there. It's almost like an illusion when a changeup is that good.
Andres Gimenez hits the first pitch on the ground. Slight bobble, but a good recovery by Trey Turner. And it's 6 up, 6 down so far for Christopher Sanchez. 2-0 Phillies after 2. Phase 1 voting for the 2026 All-Star Game in Philadelphia is open now through June 25th, and fans can vote up to 5 times per day. Cast your vote today at BlueJays.com/vote, and maybe the American League hits leader will be there in Philadelphia. Beautiful day for a ball game. The Philadelphia Phillies in town. They'll host the All-Star Game at Citizens Bank Park. And before we get to the top of the 3rd inning, just a little bit of shoe maintenance here for Kyle Schwarber, tying his laces, a guy who's been to a couple of All-Star games himself.
It's not as easy as you think, tying your shoes with batting gloves on. I've tried it. Takes an extra second or 2.
John Schneider said maybe that's a pitch clock violation. Anything to get Schwarber down 0-1.
He's the DH. It's not like he's running in from left field. You'd think he'd been ready.
Schwarber struck out swinging on a slider in the zone in the first. There is a curveball, which you don't see a ton from Patrick Corbin. Rather, that looked like maybe a loopier slider there, 1-1. Schwarber hits it high and deep right center field. Straw going back. Lucas is there, and Straw makes the grab. Lucas appeared to see him last second. There's 1 out.
That sinker may have gotten inside just enough that he couldn't get the barrel of the bat to this baseball, because if he did, it would have landed in a different spot. Again, trying to go away. See that target from Heineman and missing in a very dangerous spot. See Corbin looking, just willing that ball to stay in the park.
Trey Turner grounded out to shortstop in the first, the former National and Dodger. He's had some ups and downs in his Phillies career and is going through it a little bit again to start this year. He's a guy who's won batting titles, made all-star games. And when he's right, is as electrifying, especially with the speed he possesses, as any middle infielder really in the game, maybe outside of Bobby Witt Jr.
Signed that $300 million contract. 2023, 11-year deal.
Yeah, he's going to be 40 years old when that contract finishes up in 2033. There is Dave Dombrowski. The Phillies, formerly Tigers,
yes.
Red Sox, etc.
David Dombrowski has been around this game a long time, and I kind of had a path that followed him of sorts. He was in charge in Montreal back in my days. He made the phone call to me when I was a youngster to invite me to my first big league spring training. That was pretty cool, and back in 1989. And then he went on to the Marlins. I became a minor league free agent, and guess who I got a call from? The Marlins. I went over to the Marlins. And then after my career, Ben, I ended up working with the Tigers, just helping them out with batting practice in Detroit. And wouldn't you know it, who gets hired as the president and general manager in Detroit is David Dombrowski. So I told him, now you're following me. But he has been around the game a long time, and spoke to him about his Phillies club today, and not the start at all that they wanted, but he feels like things are trending in a better direction, and that certainly helps when you get a guy like Zach Wheeler back.
Bryce Harper is going to ask for an ABS challenge of that last four-seamer. Close pitch. This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. If it stays a strike, it's 0-2, but it'll be overturned. Good challenge there by Bryce Harper. But on Dombrowski, he's done a lot of winning, especially, he had that World Series with the Boston Red Sox. This is a Phillies team. Like you said, the expectations are high, and they got big deals. Trey Turner's on a big contract. Bryce Harper, obviously, being a two-time MVP, is on a big contract. They have put a lot to the payroll, and they expect to win. 2 checks on Turner.
And it has to just be infuriating, even as you're watching your club in the early part of the season, again, with those expectations, what you're planning coming out of spring training, and it was really poor. They were just playing a very poor version of baseball.
Well, that's what leads to something like a surprise firing of Rob Thompson, who's incredibly well regarded, both within Philadelphia and around the game. But Canadian manager let go after a 9-19 start, and Don Mattingly is 26-11 as the interim manager.
It had to be a tough decision. It gets to a point in this game where, as we know, you can't fire players, you can't do too much else in that regard, so you have to change who's up top. And Rob Thompson has to be one of the more respected former managers now in the game.
Corbin just issued a walk to Turner. Here's his 3-1 pitch to Harper. Turner takes off. It's a swing and a miss, and he is safe. Close play over at second, but for now, a 14th stolen base of the year for Trey Turner.
Well, Corbin tried to hold him closer, but you see that leg kick. That's a pretty big move. Heineman's trying to make up for that time any way he can, but when somebody has the speed of Trey Turner, you need everything in your favor, and the delivery of the left-hander did not help Heineman out there at all.
Corbin had also used his 2 disengagements already, so Turner had a good idea he was not coming over again. He does get the 2 disengagements back, by the way, now that Turner has changed spots on the base paths. He can step off again.
That's where a slide step of sorts would be very beneficial for a pitcher like Corbin. When you don't have any moves left, at least try to abbreviate that delivery a little bit.
Walk to Harper, and back-to-back walks here with 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Some hitters who have seen a lot of Patrick Corbin, whether they are against him or were teammates of his. Bryce Harper's now 58 plate appearances against Corbin. That's the second most he's faced any pitcher in his career, only behind Julio Teheran.
Well, he's digging himself a little bit of a hole here with these walks. Generally speaking, he's going 2 times through the order plus some. He's faced 23 batters 4 times this year. That's 2 times through plus a handful. So you know that that 3rd time through the order comes around, you're starting to keep your eyeballs very closely on Corbin and very closely on that Blue Jays bullpen.
Could use a ground ball here. And that one clipped Marsh. Bases loaded. Just does not have a feel for his typical command right now that has made him so dependable for the Blue Jays so far this year.
Not regarded as a ground ball pitcher, but he can certainly get a ground ball. The Blue Jays will pull the infield in.
There's going to be a pitch clock violation on Alec Bohm, so that's going his way at least. Bohm was not alert in time. And it'll be 0-1. Blue Jays looking to potentially make a play at the plate here with the bases loaded. The lead runner is the speedy Trey Turner. If you're Heineman and you're trying to get a ground ball for Corbin, what pitches, what spots do you go to?
I think the sinker changeup combination, either one of them. Both of them have that downward movement for a guy like Bohm. If it's hit hard at somebody, they could turn it. They could go home to first, but they could turn it in the middle. But something soft where the infielder has to charge, you'll see a Jimenez or a Clement come home with it.
That was a changeup right there. Had Bohm way out in front to hit it off the cup of the bat. He does have 3 strikeouts already, Patrick Corbin. That would work as well. Went back to the changeup, 2-2.
Bohm, not a big strikeout guy, not a ton of swing and miss, so he's a guy that's likely to put in play, but you just hope it's hard right at somebody.
Fair bit of ground balls off the bat of Bohm this year. Lines this one through the left side. Coming in to score Turner, station to station for everyone else, and it's 3-0 Phillies. First hit of the inning, and it burns Corbin after the pair of walks and hit batter.
Well, this one looked like a 4-seam fastball, and he got it in there. See, the target is in there. They wanted to kind of go up and in, and he got it in there. But being a 4-seam fastball, it's a little bit easier of a pitch to square up. Less movement. A 4-seam fastball is going to be more true spin-wise and stay more in a flat plane, as opposed to getting some sinking movement down where you might clip the top of the baseball.
Pete Walker out there to talk with Patrick Corbin as Corbin looks for some damage limitation. Alec Bohm has begun to heat up for the Phillies. It's been a nice development for them. That's his 31st RBI of the season. Corbin did get a ground ball double play last inning, and it was off the bat of JT Realmuto. Infield remains in now. Harper, the lead runner at third. And a line drive looping down to center, a base hit. Harper in to score again, station to station as Marsh stops at third. It's 4-0 Phillies on back-to-back RBI hits. It's another pitch executed to the spot, but a good swing.
Sinker down in the zone. Looked like JT got it off the end of his bat, and he just cued it into shallow center field. May have even broken that bat, but the Phillies just playing station to station right here.
The Phillies adding on in this third inning. The Blue Jays have Simeon Woods Richardson up for what could be a long-awaited Blue Jay debut potentially. Couple of hits now, but walk hit batter to Turner, Harper, Marsh set up this 2-run inning so far.
so difficult when you're fighting the strike zone, because that's an automatic message to opposing hitters. Like he's got to throw strikes. He has to come in. So you walk a couple, you hit a guy, and next hitters know you got to be around the plate.
Infield has actually moved a little bit further in. Looks like they're less focused on turning two right now. Perhaps that's because of Bryson Stott and how he runs. But Jimenez and Clement now not in position to go to second, more looking to go to the plate.
Trying to get every ounce they can out of him. It's only the third inning.
And that's a bases loaded walk. It's 5-0 Phillies.
Wow, he went to a 3-1 slider there, and that just could be, that's almost waving the flag there that you just don't think you can throw your fastball for a strike. Very surprising pitch there to Stott. Having trouble with everything right now.
For Corbin, his fourth walk plus a hit batter in the start. Adolis Garcia takes a strike. Adam Macko also up now for the Blue Jays. We are approaching a pocket of a lot of lefties in the Phillies lineup. Three runs in the third after 2 runs off the bat of Garcia in the second. There's a couple of former teammates. Corbin was with the Texas Rangers last year, and again, almost everyone in this lineup has a lot of experience either seeing, playing against, or playing with Patrick Corbin. Ball on the ground at third. Okamoto dives to stop it. He'll go to the plate and get the lead runner home. Really nice play at the hot corner by Kazuma Okamoto to keep it at a 3-run inning thus far.
Well, it's a really nice play and a really nice decision by Okamoto. You're probably not getting a double play on this ball after you have to dive for it. So he comes home and tries to prevent a run. They're at a point right now. They've got to stop the bleeding. They've got to stop the runs from scoring. So I love the fact that if you're going to get one, get that lead runner at the plate. Well done.
Sunk it over the left shoulder of the runner ball. First pitch to Sosa, wild hack right there on a changeup.
Couple of guys that we will see coming up over the next couple of days.
John Schneider announced today that Dylan Cease will go tomorrow for the Blue Jays, and then Max Scherzer is scheduled to go Wednesday. So Cease, Wheeler, Scherzer, Luzardo, the next 2 matchups.
Couple of good matchups. And the Blue Jays are certainly seeing the Phillies best in this series. Wheeler was out to start the season. He's only made 8 starts, but he has been fantastic, and that's when the team kind of made that turn as well when he came back.
They've had this habit of catching Zach Wheeler a lot over the last couple of years. There was a run of a couple of years where it felt like they saw Wheeler, Nola when they would play those 2-game sets with the Phillies all the time.
Luzardo might be a little deceiving too, an ERA over 4.5, but we know he's pretty solid.
His stuff is much better than that. Sosa with a little chase there, hits it foul to the right.
The struggles in their rotation have come more from Painter and Nola. Nola coming back from injury. Painter's a young pitcher that they're still certainly very high on.
And Luzardo struggled more early. He's been more locked in of late. Tap back toward the hill. Corbin will go to the plate with 2 outs. The closest throw for him, and that does it for the top of the third. On 3 walks and 2 hits plus a hit batter, the Phillies score 3. On On June 24th, the first 15,000 fans received a vintage-style cap featuring Domer the Turtle as part of the 50th season celebration. That familiar face is back at the ballpark. Buy your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Blue Jays in an early hold of the Philadelphia Phillies, 5-0 in favor of the visitors. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Joe Siddall. Hazel May down on the field. And Miles Straw leads it off. Thinking bunt. He'll get out of the way. Ball 1.
Miles may have just been looking at a pitch, trying to slow this game down a little bit after the Phillies have now gone up 5. He knows they need base runners any way they can get them.
Christopher Sanchez has lived up to the billing in the first 2 innings. He's punched out 3. It's not allowed a base runner yet. Straw hits one well, left center field, and that's going to split the gap. High bounce reeled in by Sosa. Straw digging for second, and he's got a leadoff double. Maybe that's the spark the Blue Jays need here after a 3-run top of the 3rd by the Phillies.
Well, that is the sinker that I was talking about. If you're going to get to Christopher Sanchez, you've got to get a sinker that's on the plate. He got himself into a good count. 2-0. You know you're getting that sinker, and he gets it middle in, and he barrels it up.
Straw's 4th double, and here's Tyler Heineman.
All of the hitters know the arms of outfielders too, and that's something that goes on in your meetings before a series. So I think when you hit that ball too, you know that you're probably running on the arm of Sosa in left.
Back-to-back 2-0 counts now for Christopher Sanchez. He threw only 10 pitches in the first and then 10 pitches again in the second. If nothing else, working him a little bit more would be big for the Blue Jays. Patrick Corbin going over the top of the inning. Check swing, and he did go, says Alex Tosi. 2-2. We don't have as good of a view, but didn't look like much of an offering from here. And you understand what he's seeing from that angle.
Sure. I would say it looks like no swing more than it looks like hitters go across, but they go more than you think.
They snap it back pretty quick.
Yes. Did you see that? I think it's a pilot project in the minor leagues where they're doing the next thing for replay with the check swings.
Yeah, so if you actually dive into the rule book, the check swing rules are a little vague. In the minors, they're trying to set a standard where 45 degrees straight out from you would be a swing, and they can measure how far you go across.
Now, the one I saw, though, seemed egregious. It seemed way too far forward. The one I saw in the minor leagues where the hitter came across so far, the bat, he was a left-handed batter, and the bat was almost pointing to the left fielder. But they ruled no swing because he hadn't gone yet. Whereas to me, as soon as that barrel kind of crosses the front of the plate, that to me is a swing.
Heineman fights off a changeup there. Now, there's a reason they test these things in the minor leagues. They've tweaked a lot of rules in the majors by first testing them out in different ways in the minors. So we'll see if they do get a standard.
You could probably use the baseline. Like you watching Heineman hit right here. If you use the first baseline as your barrel goes past that first baseline toward the pitcher, that to me would be a swing.
Heineman taps one just over the hill, charging Turner, and he'll make the play to get the running Heineman 1 out.
Get game-changing internet and Canada's most reliable internet. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
It was an out, but Tyler Heineman sees 8 pitches, advances Miles Straw to third base, and Yohendrick Pinango with a potential RBI opportunity. Although it's a tough left-on-left matchup for the rookie.
He used that sinker in on, there it is, in on Lucas a couple of times, and he will do that to lefties.
Pinango's had some tough assignments recently. They're giving him shots against lefties. You saw Chris Sale. That's a tough assignment for anyone, especially a rookie left-handed hitter, and pretty much just as tough seeing Christopher Sanchez. It's a good take right there, though. That's exactly where Sanchez wants to put that pitch.
Pretty good changeup. He took that like he knew it was coming.
It's 3 straight 2-0 counts from Sanchez, by the way, to begin this inning. Chopper to the right side. Harper charging. He'll take it to the bag, and a run comes in to score in Miles Straw. So the Blue Jays on the board with an RBI ground out from Yohendrick Pinango.
And it's not easy to get on the board against Christopher Sanchez. Ben, you noted earlier the streak that just ended in his last game. 50 2/3 scoreless innings. 5th longest in the history of this game, and most for a left-hander. Blue Jays have one on the board, but they've given up 5.
It may not feel like it, but this is better than anyone has done against Sanchez in about a month and a half. It took the Padres in the last start until deep into that game, until the 7th, with 2 outs, to get the first run off Sanchez in over 50 innings. See why Springer's not very happy with that call. Decides not to use one of the 2 ABS reviews, maybe due to the situation.
Yeah.
Bases empty, 2 outs.
Not a big challenge guy, is he? I don't think we've seen a whole lot from George.
Could be generalizing, but it does feel like some of the more veteran players are not as big of challenge guys. Some of the younger guys came up with it in the minors when they were testing rules.
Interesting. Yeah.
I saw a quote from Aaron Judge saying, I have too much in my head to be an umpire at the same time. Swing and a miss by Springer, and he goes down on the 4th K for Christopher Sanchez. But the Blue Jays get on the board. Miles Straw's double sets up a Yohendrick Pinango RBI ground out. It's 5-1. Presented by Schneider's. Grab your tickets at bluejays.com/tickets and come hungry. Blue Jays trailing early in this game against the Philadelphia Phillies. They will go to a new pitcher. Slovakian-born, Canadian-raised left-hander Adam Mako is on for the Blue Jays, facing the top of the order for the Phillies.
Mako pitched twice in the Orioles series. On Saturday, it was a scoreless inning, and for the season now, very nice start to his major league career. In his 11 games, he did have one of those a start. But in 11 innings, just 1 walk and 11 strikeouts, and he's doing it with a mid-90s 4-seam fastball, slider, changeup, and curve. He's really got a starter's repertoire, all 4 of the standard traditional pitches. But this will be a little different matchup with some of the lefties in this lineup.
But you know what? He's punched this guy out before. He did it in the WBC. Same with Bryce Harper, who will face in 2 batters. No, it's a different environment, different context, but can't hurt to know that you can strike out Kyle Schwarber if you're a rookie in Adam Mako.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Struck out Schwarber as part of Canada's real tight quarterfinal matchup with the United States in the World Baseball Classic.
Well, there's certainly some swing and miss in Schwarber's game. You can get him to chase, you can get him to swing and miss. It's just the other side of it is just so positive.
And you mostly have to get him to whiff in the zone, right? And that's
tough to do.
Scary, given his power. Can easily see why the Phillies wanted to re-sign him. Brought him back on a 5-year, $150 million contract this offseason.
77 miles per hour is a bat speed flying through the zone.
Patrick Corbin, tough outing in this one. Really, his command betrayed him in the third inning. 3 walks and a hit batter in that frame, in addition to a couple RBI singles. And a walk to Schwarber.
It's frustrating for Mako because any pitcher, especially a left-hander, when you're brought into the game like this, he knows why he's brought into this game. It's Schwarber, the lefty, and then after Turner, it's Harper and Marsh. He has a job to do here. You're brought in as a lefty to get these lefties. And when you don't get them, especially in the manner he didn't get him, the free pass, it's infuriating for you as a pitcher. So all you can do now is try to double up a guy that runs extremely well.
Stole a base last inning. For Mako, that has not been typical. That's only his second walk in 11 innings compared to 11 strikeouts. He's so far succeeded by being in the zone early and often.
I think that's what's impressed me most when I look at his early season here so far. When I mentioned the 1 walk and 11 strikeouts in his 11 innings. A, it means you're around the plate. B, it means you're getting guys out in the zone.
Check swing. He did not go, says Alex Tosi. Now Turner in an advantage count, and Mako in danger of walking another. 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. With Bryce Harper on deck, you don't want to walk each of the first 2. And this one's on the ground at third. Okamoto charges it. He'll get the lead runner. That's all. Well, that's plenty fine enough for Mako after he fell behind 3-1 to bounce back and get the fielder's choice.
And when we talk about the 1 walk that he has issued and now 2 on his young season, balls in play, throw strikes, let your defense work. And this is a nice little short hop pick here by Okamoto. See him make sure that he secures that. You know you're not turning 2 with Trey Turner running. Make sure you secure the baseball and give your second baseman a good feed.
Turner takes off on the first pitch. It's high, and they got him. Tyler Heineman on the money to Andres Jimenez. And the Blue Jays cut down Trey Turner. 2 outs.
Blue Jays catchers have done an outstanding job throwing this year, and Tyler Heineman has now thrown out 12 of 32 attempted base stealers. He gets rid of the baseball very quickly. His strength is the speed of that exchange and then the accurate throw, and Turner's not even at the bag yet before Jimenez slaps the tag on his arm. If you give Tyler Heineman time, he is going to throw a lot of base runners. And by time, I mean a nice quick delivery to the plate, a smaller leg kick, abbreviate it. It's all about hundreds of seconds, and every one of those hundreds of seconds means a lot down at second base.
You can see Turner, I think he was trying to surprise the Blue Jays, but he didn't even have his equipment on yet. He was holding his sliding mitt in his right hand. And he just didn't, even though he took off, he didn't seem totally ready to take off for second.
How many times have we seen guys leading off as the pitch is being thrown? They're still putting their oven mitts on. I feel like they're going out to play in the snow. They look like winter mitts. Maybe that was his decoy. Pretend you're putting them on and just take off. I mean, as a catcher, if you see a guy down there still putting his glove on, you don't think he's taking off. But Heineman was ready.
And now Mako, after falling behind 3-0, has battled back to a full count. But that's only the second time Trey Turner has been caught this year. He's a guy who's rarely ever caught, so it's a big deal to get him.
It's very interesting to watch the current Blue Jays catchers because Heineman and Valenzuela do it very differently. Valenzuela has a cannon for an arm. Exchange not as quick as Heineman. but certainly gets it done. You can have a really quick exchange with an average arm, or you can have a slower exchange with a cannon for an arm. Bottom line is you need to be accurate back there, and it's all about the footwork and the exchange and making that accurate throw.
Three-two pitch to Harper. He got him. Adam Macko strikes out Bryce Harper, and after the leadoff walk, Macko faces the minimum with the help of his catcher, Tyler Heineman. A big toss out to second base to catch Trey Turner stealing, and the Blue Jays looking to carry that momentum into the bottom of the fourth. Well, how about this Stanley Cup final? Vegas with a double OT win in Game 3. They now lead Carolina 2-1. Don't miss Game 4 tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. Nathan Lucas will lead it off for the Blue Jays, bottom of the fourth inning. He'll take inside. Blue Jays got a run off Christopher Sanchez in the third inning. Now the 1-0. High 2-0. And they've become a little bit more patient recently. Sanchez started behind 2-0 to 3 of the 4 batters in the third, and now he comes out here in the fourth and seems to not quite have his pinpoint command again.
And I think it really started with Miles Straw there. Took a couple of pitches. You could see fake bunted on that very first pitch. You could just see the whole plan after the Phillies scored again was just to slow things down, wait him out a little bit, make him work. And those are the things you need to do against a very good pitcher. Remember I said, like, you may not get him in the first and second inning, but try to win the longer battle, and maybe you get him in the fifth and sixth, as they did against Skeens, as they did against Sandy Alcantara.
Pretty good rip right there from Lucas on a sinker over the plate.
The problem is the hill you have to climb tonight is giving up 5 to the Phillies.
Maybe you can get some off Sanchez and get him out of there and hope to do some against the rest, although the back end of that bullpen pretty good for Philadelphia too. You know what, Lucas though, in one of the tougher left-on-left matchups you could draw up, has not looked overmatched.
There's that compete word again that he used this afternoon. When I say battle your tail off, that's what it feels like as a hitter in the box. He is digging in there and he is just trying to see the pitch as good as possible and put a good swing on it. I mean, every at bat looks like that from Nate, but you really have to do it against Sanchez.
And he probably caught some tough luck in the first inning, or more like a really good play from Alec Bohm. He easily could have had a base hit through the left side. Bohm made a diving catch.
Put a good swing on a pitch. When you get a slider from Sanchez that's kind of down out there, you're trying to find that hole. Bohm wouldn't allow it.
7th pitch to Lucas, and he hit him.
Did he?
Or maybe he didn't. Thought I heard the bat sound there. The Blue Jays are at least going to take a look at this. Lucas not reacting like he got hit though. That might have hit the bat.
Or maybe the
missed him.
Catcher's mitt, yeah. Couple close calls for Nathan tonight.
And by hook or crook, first base is first base.
You take that if it just grazes you.
It's true. 97, you don't want that.
No.
3-2. And Lucas bounces one to stop. 1 out. Christopher Sanchez dealt over to the Phillies in what you could call one of the rare mistake trades by the Tampa Bay Rays. They traded 1-for-1 for Curtis Mead, who is a big leaguer right now in the Nationals roster, but the Rays maybe not quite seeing what they had. It was early in the pro career of Sanchez, to be clear. He was not nearly the pitcher that he is at this point, but seemingly just because the Rays had a bit of a 40-man roster crunch, they made a trade, and you hate to give up a guy like this.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the different developmental paths, pitchers and position players. Hitters can take longer to develop as well.
I think the Blue Jays are very happy about that. Imagine you had to see this guy with the Rays again and again. And we have an ejection. David Popkins, I believe, just got run from this game by Jansen Visconti. Visconti said one word and gave him the hook.
Wonder if maybe he thought the ball was down and he was arguing, and Visconti was hearing it from the bench.
It's a fairly quick hook right there.
Yeah, it's a little.
Must have been some buildup maybe before. Guerrero lifts this one foul out of play.
You never know how much umpires are hearing before an incident like that actually happens, but I would still like to see an umpire, if you're going to make the effort to take your mask off and go over and talk to the dugout, go over and have that. Now, if it keeps happening, of course, you got to make a decision, but it seemed pretty quick. The first pitch was a changeup, maybe just on the outside edge. Can't see that from the dugout. Maybe they thought it was away.
Guerrero reaches down and rolls over to third. And Bo makes the play. He's been up a couple times so far, Simeon Woods Richardson. It feels like one way or another he will make his Blue Jays debut potentially at some point tonight.
That's a good example of, that's a great swing, I think, right there by Okamoto, but probably thinking that's the sinker. And you can see what the changeup does. It just doesn't quite get there and fades down and away from you.
Back to the changeup, or rather sinker that time. Okamoto lays off.
But that's the approach I think you have to have if you're looking for the sinker and you think you get it. You take your best act. Adamako did a great job getting out of that inning. The caught stealing helped, but the leadoff walk did not phase him. That's great to see from a young pitcher.
Guy who continues to become more and more important to this Blue Jays bullpen, especially with Joe Mantiply on the 60-day injured list. Okamoto hits it well, right center field. Marsh tracking back, and he will make the grab. Blue Jays go down in order, and we go to the fifth inning. 5-1 Phillies in Toronto. Better Together is brought to you by Heinz, because a hot dog just isn't a hot dog without Heinz. At Rogers Center, Blue Jays and Phillies go into the fifth, 5-1 Philadelphia, and here's a Blue Jay debut almost 7 years in the making. It was the trade deadline 2019 when the Blue Jays acquired Simeon Woods Richardson from the New York Mets when they dealt away Marcus Stroman. They trade him about 2 years later to the Twins in the Jose Barrios deal, but Woods Richardson back with the Blue Jays on a June 3rd trade for cash, and now he finally pitches in the majors in a Blue Jay uniform.
12 games this season with the Twins, 10 of those starts, but the ERA was well over 7.5. Just has not been able to put things together. Had a couple of decent seasons in 24 and 25. ERA is closer to 4. Pete Walker and his staff have gone to work, and they're trying to sort things out for Woods Richardson.
It's interesting because, like you said, 50 starts the previous 2 years. Pretty good.
Solid.
But this year has gotten away from him a bit.
The four-seam fastball average is just under 93, but it's a splitter that he throws a lot, and if it's up and hanging in the zone a lot, it can get beat up. Slider and curveball as well.
Brandon Marsh hits the first one foul. Of the tweaks potentially that they would make to Simeon Woods Richardson, John Schneider had mentioned that there's been more splitter this year, and the Blue Jays might have liked his changeup he used last year a bit more. See if we see some of that in this outing. Quickly ahead of Brandon Marsh, 0-2. Schneider said he had crossed paths with Woods Richardson at the alternate site in 2020 and then spring training of 2021 before the Blue Jays traded him at the deadline. And although he's gone through some ups and downs and has big league experience of over 300 innings, he's 25 years old. Still a very young guy. The 1-2 is high and outside. Missed there with a splitter.
That's a good example of it right there, too. That's not where you want a splitter in that count. You're trying to bury that, getting a chase at the bottom of the zone.
On the ground off the mound, and Andres Jimenez tosses out Marsh. Let's go down to the field. Here's Hazel May.
You know, I asked Woods Richardson what the biggest improvement in his game was since the last time he was in the organization. And he said, I'm able to understand how my body works better, understanding the work and what it takes for his body to endure a long big league season. He said he was a little, quote, wet behind the ears coming up. He said he had no idea what it took to be a big leaguer. He says he's definitely grown in that department, Ben.
He was only about 20 years old, Hazel, when he did get traded away. A lot of growth, you can imagine, for a player, Joe, from 20 to 25.
And you know, when Hazel said that, the first thing that came to my mind, it's not just your fastball, your splitter, your slice, not just your pitches on the mound. It's the routines. It's how you handle yourself as a big leaguer.
Another grounder up the middle. Another play for Andres Jimenez. And this is 2 quick outs for Simeon Woods Richardson in his Blue Jays debut.
So many young players. It takes that second and third and fourth year in the big leagues to really establish yourself and settle into your routines. And your routines include, when you get to the ballpark, is it some treatment in the training room? Is it when you throw your bullpen? It's how much you throw during the day. It's your side days. It's your playing catch, your long toss, your bullpen sessions. So many things, and it can take a few seasons to realize what works for you.
JT Realmuto slaps one to right field, and a diving catch by Nathan Lucas. What a way to cap off Simeon Woods Richardson's first inning in a Blue Jay uniform. An incredible play out and right by Lucas. That looked to be extra bases for sure for JT Realmuto until Lucas came flying in. 5-1, the Phillies lead, middle of the 5th. Time now for an update. Here's Jamie Campbell. Looked like it might be extra bases.
Nathan Lucas contributes to this team in so many different ways. We talk so much about him on the offensive side of the ball, but what he brings on the defensive side. We had a great angle at this ball going out to right field from where we are, high up behind home plate, off the bat of a right-handed batter. It was slicing away from the right fielder, and Lucas timed the dive perfectly. A lot of support and appreciation from his teammates.
For Simeon Woods Richardson, that inning about 7 years in the making. That's got to be a cool way to cap off that first scoreless frame as a Blue Jay. 5-1 Phillies lead. Still on top due to the early offense, and still it's tough for the Blue Jays right now against Christopher Sanchez. They had the double by Straw in the 3rd inning and got him in to score. That's the only base runner so far, but Ernie Clement's launching deep to left field. Sosa runs out of room. It's gone. His unbelievable hot streak continues as Ernie Clement pounds out his 7th home run of the season.
Sanchez started him off with a changeup. Not many of the changeups from the left-hander are even in the zone. This was down. Ernie swung and missed, but now he gets the sinker. And again, that's probably the best way to get to Christopher Sanchez. Get a sinker in the zone and put a good swing on it. And that's what Clement did once again.
The last time Christopher Sanchez gave up multiple runs in his start, it was April. And today it's June 8th.
You just keep trying to compile good at-bats, make him work, and then capitalize on a pitch. It's not a mistake. He's thrown his sinker. We talked about how he moves it around the zone, but Ernie got something that he can handle, and he put a good swing on it. That timing was perfect.
Did he go? He did, says crew chief Corey Blazer. For Clement, 7 home runs, tied for second on the team now.
So many of his changeups are barely in the zone, so Ernie sets his sights this time a little higher probably, and he gets that sinker up there. I think Sanchez knew it right when Ernie hit it.
Myles Straw had a double his first time up and scored. And I'm sure, Joe, you had on your bingo card before the year. At this point in the year, tied for second on the team in home runs, Ernie Clement and Brandon Valenzuela both have 7.
Why do we even talk about the season during spring training? Don't ever dare try to make predictions. It's the evolution of a baseball season, right? You just never know which paths you're going to go down, where you're going to be when June 1st arrives. And so many players and coaches, you talk about a team identity, but I think it's something that evolves throughout the course of a season. It's still developing. If they can get on any kind of run, we know that that identity is going to be contributions from throughout. And first and foremost, you're going to need the big man to get going, and that's what the Blue Jays have continued to wait for.
Check swing. He didn't go. 3-1.
You know, the 4th inning ended with Okamoto's fly out to deep right center field that Marsh caught, and I thought that was a really good swing on a sinker up and out over the plate. Thought maybe he got it, but came up a little bit short. But just keep putting good at bats together.
Straw, and this one is off the glove of Sanchez. Can he make the play? He can, with a nice dig by Harper at first. We'll see if the Blue Jays want to take a look. It's a real good recovery from Christopher Sanchez with one of baseball's fastest runners, Myles Straw, booking it down the line. They will not challenge.
Good recovery by the left-hander, goes off of his glove and then behind him. Watch him come up with this baseball. He bare hands it. Throws a pellet over to first base. A little short hop there by Harper too. Well done by Harper at first base. Bohm says, I wasn't getting it, so good job, buddy.
Maybe if he was right-handed, they'd have him play some third at times as well.
Every inch matters too, and you see the footwork of Harper at first base there. His right foot was on the corner of the first base bag closest to home plate, so they can reach as much as he can toward the ball, and that can be the difference in safe and out.
I know first base isn't regarded at times in the same way as shortstop or catcher or center field, but that's converted outfielder Bryce Harper, who's turned himself into one of the game's more dependable first basemen.
Yeah, you don't have to be a Gold Glover when you get moved over there, but just hold down the fort, so to speak.
And after he had ended up having Tommy John surgery, it's allowed the Phillies to not have to DH him and give Schwarber that DH spot by still being able to play in the field. Heineman hits it to the right side. Stott over to first. And that wraps up the bottom of the 5th inning. An inning where the Blue Jays get another run off one of baseball's toughest in Christopher Sanchez. Ernie Clement again continuing to make his case to go to the All-Star game in Philadelphia. His 7th home run of the year makes it 5-2 for the Phillies through 5 innings.
Going back on the ball, being able to take his eye off the ball, find the wall, and then back on the ball to make the catch. So we know he's got the bat, Ben, but the defense is still a work in progress, guys.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you have a major league quality bat, Joe, it's hard to keep that out of the lineup. But right when Pinango was called up and I talked to Mark Budzinski about the defense, he said that Pinango acknowledged there's work to be done there, and they've been working hard, but he's having to do that while almost playing every day at the major league level.
Yeah, it's hard to continue to try to develop that right up here at the major league level while you're trying to hit big league pitching when you're facing a Christopher Sanchez tonight. But we see when we get to the ballpark here around 3 o'clock, We see Budzinski out there with the machine out and firing balls in all different directions, down toward the left field line, into the gap, over your head, in front of you. You're trying. All it takes, all you can do is more and more repetitions. You need to see more and more balls and moving to your left, moving to your right, all different directions. And you don't have to be, if you're a Penango, you're not trying to turn him into a Gold Glover out there. You just want to make the plays that should be made, balls that should be caught. They need to be caught. And all of it is because the bat has certainly played, and it's very attractive to have that bat in the lineup.
Second inning of work for Simeon Woods Richardson. Got a couple of groundouts and then that great play diving in right field by Nathan Lucas. Speaking of Blue Jays corner outfielders, Addison Barger does continue to hit and get some throwing work at the Blue Jay complex. Close pitch there. Heineman deciding not to challenge. That's as close as it gets.
Tyler might be kicking himself. He held onto that ball a long time and well past the time he could have challenged.
I mean, I wouldn't call that a bad call. It's real close, but probably strike three. And whoa. Time is going to be assessed there. They're not going to count that pitch. There's about to be a pitch clock violation, I think, and Heineman took off running.
I think Tyler verbally yelled time and jumped out of there before the umpire even granted it. And that's all to probably beat the clock.
Jacinto Visconti was saying, time, I guess.
Let's call it a mound visit.
You know, you can watch the sport for a long time and you see new things every single day.
That's why you run out with your head up.
Fastball at the knees, and he got him. First strikeout in a Blue Jay uniform for Simeon Woods Richardson.
Well, Tyler Heineman is very active behind the plate. We see Valenzuela doing this stuff too, but watch this move right here. Full count, calls the fastball. Hey, right here. We're not trying to pick corners here. Right here in the middle, come right at me. There it is, right in the middle of the plate. And that's a good little reminder for a pitcher, not trying to be too fine. Bring it right to me. Well done.
Strike throwing doubly important. As much as they want to stay in this game, they also want to get a handful of innings out of Simeon Woods Richardson after Patrick Corbin in the start went 3.
Best way to be efficient is to be in the zone. No free passes, and you can get some early outs, early count outs.
Ahead 0-2 after that slider in the zone. There's 95 miles an hour from Simeon Woods Richardson. Sat more 93 or 92 as a starter this year, but perhaps in some shorter stints can gas it up a little bit more. Fastball at the knees again. Garcia doesn't think so. That's going to be close.
Called a strike. Or a batter's challenge.
And it stays a strike. It does not get a whole lot better than that. Back-to-back Ks. One challenge left for the Phillies.
A good location again at the bottom of the zone with that fastball. He has some pretty good hop on his fastball. It's really good extension. Big kid, he's 6'3". The fastball's got some good carry to it. Really holds the zone.
It's a pretty over-the-top delivery. It's a lot of downward angle on that pitch. Gets the fastball by Sosa right there.
The fastball certainly playing this inning.
Seems to have a great feel for that bottom rail or bottom third of the zone with the fastball right now. Breaking ball, line toward the left field corner, fair. And Sosa taking off for second base. He'll get in there with a 2-out double.
Well, after talking about his fastball, he went with the slider, and it was down in the zone, but Sosa does a pretty good job staying with it. Looked like he was out front, maybe one-handed it a little bit, but he one-hands it right into the left field corner.
First base runner allowed by Simeon Woods Richardson. And a big curveball there drops in to steal a strike from Kyle Schwarber.
Doesn't use the curveball a whole lot. He's been more four-seam fastball and splitter to lefties, but that might be part of the new wrinkle with his new team. Maybe it's a pitch they might incorporate a little bit more.
That was pretty 12-6 straight down on the curveball. Threw it a little bit more last year. There's his splitter. No swing that time. 2-1.
Oftentimes when pitchers have the curveball and the slider, you'll see them use the slider more to righties because it's going away from them, and the curveball to lefties because it's more straight over the top.
Schwarber hits it high in the air, but it's going to be a thundering foul ball. 2-2.
When Schwarber takes a hack, and even the sound of that baseball off of his bat, and you see what he did with his left hand right there, is reminding himself to stay more middle. That is a crisp sound. He knows he just missed it, but you can see that bat speed we were talking about earlier, up around 77+ miles per hour. Major league average is down around 71, 72, right?
It's this one high, but playable in shallow center. And Miles Straw is there. Scoreless inning again for Simeon Woods Richardson. The Blue Jays hanging around. Bottom of the sixth coming up. They trail at 5-2 to the Phillies. Lots of great giveaways coming your way this season. On June 10th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. And he will get the start tomorrow. That mustache is still growing its way back right now, but Dylan Cease being back for the Blue Jays, that is a massive development.
It certainly is, and that's a guy that hopefully when he is right can go deep into ball games. That is his ultimate goal, is to be a little bit more consistent in that regard, because when he is rocking and rolling, he can go 6-7 innings. That certainly takes a load off those guys down in the bullpen.
Hendrik Piñango leads it off. The 70th Sanchez pitch is hit well on a line right center field and over the head of Garcia off the fence. Piñango wants second. It's kicked around, and Piñango's got a shot at third. He'll stop there with a double and an error, and the Blue Jays are cooking in the bottom of the sixth.
Hendrik Piñango hits the baseball very hard. He gets a sinker from Sanchez down and in. Talk about how flat his bat path is. It's right to the baseball. And this ball on a line, it almost knocked the wall over. He hit it so hard, but Garcia tried to glove it. Looked like he may have kicked it towards center field.
112 off the bat for Piñango. You got to find a way to get him in. Phillies also playing the infield back, so a ground ball past the mound probably can score you a run depending on if Piñango's going on contact.
Need contact. George has struck out twice in his first two plate appearances here against the Phillies left-hander.
Springer career 1 for 12 against Christopher Sanchez. Piece of that changeup 3 straight changeups. I wonder if Sanchez is going away from the sinker right now because it can create that contact on the ground.
If he's looking for swing and miss, we know it's the changeup that he will go to.
Changeup again, 4 in a row. And you wonder, can you throw 5 changeups in a row?
Oh, I think you can because of who he is and what his changeup does, right? And as I said, the perception of that, when you see the sinker, it looks like the fastball. When you see the changeup, it looks like the sinker. So it's really tough to tell between the two.
And he struck him out on a slider that time. Switched it up but kept it out of the zone. 1 out.
Much like George's last at-bat in the 3rd, and this is a nasty one. Snaps it off right down in the zone after those changeups. Just not picking the baseball up. That's a tough one.
Nathan Lucas hits it on the ground foul, and Piñango was dashing a couple of steps after that ball was hit, so it looks like he will be going on contact if Lucas can put something in play.
Well, this is the guy you want at the plate. It's a tough lefty matchup, but Nathan Lucas tends to find a way to put a ball in play. Just needs to be in the right spot.
Bohm playing in at 3rd, everyone else back. Top of the zone strike there with a sinker. Piñango with a double, advanced to 3rd on an error to start this inning. Then Springer set down with a strikeout. Christopher Sanchez in his last 6 starts combined had allowed 1 earned run. The Jays have scored twice on him today, trying to add a 3rd. Lucas strikes out swinging, and they're in danger of straining this leadoff runner on 3rd. There's now 2 outs.
Strikeout pitcher pulled out some swing and miss at the right time. You can see that grip on the slider. He almost pokes his index finger into the baseball to really impart even more spin on that ball. And Lucas, like Springer, just not picking that spin up.
And it'll come down to the big guy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Swings and misses at a changeup. Boy, would this be a big spot to come through. They probably should have the run in already, but with back-to-back strikeouts, the baton pass to Guerrero with Piñango on 3rd.
You see that swing right there by Guerrero as he steps out of the batter's box. He's so upset with himself because he knows he got a changeup to hit. That one kind of stayed right there at the bottom of the zone, but he didn't pick it up. But this is what Christopher Sanchez does.
The 0-2. Hit foul to the right. Another changeup.
It's not like he's unhittable. We've seen them hit him, but it's really hard to do it very often, and it's extremely hard to string anything together.
Which makes it even more paramount when you get a runner on 3rd, no outs,
and
a ground ball could score you a run.
Contact is so important, but what does he do? He misses bats.
Called strike 3. Sanchez fired up after that one, giving up the leadoff double. A runner on 3rd and no outs. He bounces back to punch out Springer, Lucas, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And he keeps the Phillies in front 5-2 going to the 7th. Wednesday, don't miss Game 4 of the NBA Finals as the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks battle once again for basketball's ultimate prize. Coverage starts at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. Simeon Woods-Richardson back out for the Blue Jays. Bit of a missed opportunity in the bottom of the 6th inning, but the Blue Jays still in this ball game, trailing by 3.
Woods-Richardson certainly feeling his fastball here tonight against this Phillies lineup.
Breaking ball lofted out to shallow center. Andres Jimenez calling for it. And actually in on the infield to make the grab. 1 out. Let's go down to Hazel May.
Ben, we talked about Cease and Scherzer returning for games 2 and 3 of this series. Shane Bieber is set to throw a bullpen here at Rogers Center tomorrow, then make another AAA start on Thursday. John Schneider is hoping he gets to 70-75 pitches, and if he feels good Friday, he could be a viable option for next time around. Guys?
That would be huge for the Blue Jays, considering especially the track record of Shane Bieber. And talking with him yesterday, he is chomping at the bit to get going. No one wanted this absence to start the year to go this long. This is a guy who started multiple games for you in the postseason last year, and that was coming off of Tommy John surgery.
Well, starting to get some of these arms back. John Schneider also said with Kirk rehabbing in AAA that there's a chance Friday we could see him.
Pitch is called a strike. Batter showing.
Bryce Harper challenging there, and will overturn it to 3-0. Harper's 2 for 2 today.
Philadelphia has 1 challenge remaining.
Line drive right at Clement. Retires his Team USA teammate. 2 down.
Well, Bryce Harper did not even leave the batter's box because it does not take long for this baseball to get to Clement. Sometimes as a hitter, you hit it, you know you crushed it, you hit on a line, but it's right at somebody, and Ernie just wanted to receive that one a little bit. That was coming in hot.
That's the atom ball right there from Bryce Harper. 2 down, and Brandon Marsh takes a strike.
That's the ideal use for me as a first pitch, that curveball. Right-handed pitcher against a left-handed hitter. You don't see it a whole lot until guys make it a pattern, but as a left-handed hitter, you're not looking for that slow breaker early on.
Pop up, third base side. And a 1-2-3 inning for Simeon Woods Richardson. He's retired 9 of 10 he's faced. And the Blue Jays trail it 5-2 at the 7th inning stretch. Early runs in this series opener for the Philadelphia Phillies. The Blue Jays have hung around, kept themselves in it with runs in the 3rd, and then the Clement homer in the 5th inning. Christopher Sanchez having another really strong day. This is what a slightly off start looks like for Christopher Sanchez, because he's given up multiple runs for the first time in over a month.
Such a rough night for Christopher Sanchez. Well, you saw the emotion when he struck out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to finish that 6th inning and strand that runner at 3rd base. Pinango getting there after the error by Garcia in right, but 3 straight strikeouts, and the stuff certainly played there.
And I would understand if you didn't feel like this was a big night offensively for the Blue Jays, but not a lot of teams have done this to Sanchez of late. Defensive sub now as Edmundo Sosa's lifted from the game. Crawford into center, Marsh into left. Justin Crawford, the son of the longtime Tampa Bay Ray Carl Crawford.
It's a little bit like the Schlittler game when they played the Yankees, where Cam went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs to the Blue Jays, but Yasavage on the other side was excellent, going 6 scoreless. So you win a very low scoring game, but you just can't afford to give up runs when you're facing a pitcher like this. These are the games you go in thinking, if we beat this guy, it's probably going to be 2-0, 3-1, very low scoring.
Strikeout machine, innings machine as well. Christopher Sanchez, it's pretty regular for him to complete 7. He's trying to go 7 full innings for a 7th start in a row.
Yep. That's the guy when he takes the ball every 5 days. The relievers, they can just relax till about the 6th inning, and that's when they start stirring around and thinking about getting loose.
And a strikeout there of Okamoto, the 9th K for Sanchez and the 4th in a row.
I just don't think it does it justice what that changeup is doing. There's that grip again and the rotation of the baseball. It feels like a broken record saying it, but to a hitter in the batter's box, that one was really never a strike, but the ones that are next to impossible.
Ernie Clement homered his last time. He'll hit the changeup foul. How similar does that changeup look to the sinker coming out of the hand?
That's the issue. I think for hitters, if you're sitting sinker and you get the sinker, great, but it's still hard to square it up. But then if he throws a changeup, absolutely looks just like the sinker. And it's all about arm speed.
Clement rips one up the middle. He's got a 2-hit day off Christopher Sanchez. Get this guy to Philadelphia. Ernie Clement, 2 for 3.
Looked like he went to a slider that time. He just kind of hung up at the top of the zone, and Ernie squared it up. I don't think Sanchez is happy with the way he executed the pitch for sure. But Ernie doesn't care which way it's going, the way it's spinning. He's going to try to hit it. He hit it hard again.
Pitch count elevating a little for Sanchez. Well, Ryan Kirkering, a really, really good reliever, although anyone who's not Christopher Sanchez entering this game would be a win for the Blue Jays, short of closer Johan Duran.
You always want to get into the bullpen, especially with a starter like this, but their leverage guys have been solid.
Lou Iannati there talking with Tyler Heineman. David Popkins, the lead hitting coach, was tossed out of this game in the 4th.
McAdoo, the only right-handed bat on the Blue Jays bench. Valenzuela, a switch hitter. Could use that right-handed bat as well.
Jesus Sanchez, another lefty hitter. Looks like he's starting to get prepared. The Blue Jays, since optioning Davis Schneider, have not had a lot of right-handed hitting. Swing and a miss. Two outs now and 10 Ks for Sanchez. I should say optioning Schneider, and then Lenin Sosa goes to the injured list. A lot of days the Blue Jays have a lot of lefties in the lineup and a lot of lefty hitters on the bench too. Let's see what Miles Straw can do here with 2 outs and a runner on first. Hit that double to the left center gap in the 3rd inning and scored the first Blue Jays run.
There he is.
He's the hottest Blue Jay over the last week, maybe more than that.
Looks like he's going to hit for Heineman if it happens. Thought we may see McAdoo for Jimenez right there, just because the lefty-lefty matchup with Sanchez is so tough.
Good take there by Miles Straw, 3-0. Straw has seen Sanchez well. 2-0 count before the double, and he did get into a 3-1 count before almost reaching on a comebacker that Sanchez bobbled but managed to make the play on. Heineman still standing on deck with Valenzuela in the dugout.
He might not know Valenzuela's getting his helmet on. Sometimes that happens too when you're in the under, and you know who you are, you know where you are in the game, and I've been in those shoes right there too, where you're kind of peeking over your left shoulder thinking, they might make a move here, and I'm sure Tyler's feeling that, but especially with the way Brandon has handled himself in the batter's box lately for a while now.
Outside ball 4. First walk of the start for Christopher Sanchez will bring the tying run up to the plate. And look who it is. It's Brandon Valenzuela.
Tough assignment for certain for Valenzuela, facing somebody like Christopher Sanchez, but this is what happens when you get into a situation where you've taken advantage of every opportunity. He's letting his manager know he's got one more.
And I think he's got the license to ask for things like that before he gets Valenzuela. Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach, is going to go out there and talk to Sanchez. 101 pitches for Sanchez, who's maxed out this year at 108 pitches. Here's a guy who's homered 3 times in the last 4 days.
You wonder if Valenzuela has been underneath and hitting off the machine and facing Christopher Sanchez down there, but he has really done it for both sides of the plate. But good hitter in general, but what's really impressed me is the power in his bat. He's made some adjustments to his swing since he got to the big leagues, and you're seeing a much quieter move to the baseball and a little air of confidence when he hits it over the fence.
And it's interesting, his hot streak started a lot from the right side, but all 3 of those home runs now from the left side, as he's proved to be able to produce from either side of the plate as a switch hitter. He's the tying run right now with Clement on second and Straw on first.
And I'm sure he is looking for one of those sinkers from Sanchez. Will he throw it? First pitch is a changeup.
Took a chunk out of that sinker, hits it foul.
Good pitch, good swing. Sanchez may try to take advantage of a younger hitter and get him to chase that changeup. Now he can get any hitter to chase this changeup, but I'm thinking Sanchez is going to make him beat him with his changeup.
Oh, there it is, and it missed down and in.
And that one with a little bit of a different look to it. Normally they're fading down and away, and he pulled that one a little bit, and that could just be the time of the game. He's 100 pitches deep. Knows he's facing his last batter.
He asked to face Valenzuela. And a good changeup that time. That's where he wanted it the pitch before. 2-2. Hard to not go for it all if you're Valenzuela. You don't know if another opportunity's coming.
You're a young hitter coming up in a pitch hit situation. You're trying to save your team right here. Very aggressive. But Sanchez, with that outstanding changeup, will try to exploit that. See if he doesn't leave one more middle.
Changeup a little bit more elevated that time, but still near the bottom part of the zone. 2 pitches away from his season high.
That was a distinct nod right there by Sanchez to his catcher. Maybe going somewhere else, and Sanchez is saying, no, we're sticking with a changeup. That would be my bet. Valenzuela's just got to battle his tail off now. Try to stay on it.
Swing and a hard hit ball to short. Turner with a deep throw in time. And Sanchez gets out of the jam. The Blue Jays threaten but do not score. They still trail it 5-2 after 7. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Pillar. This Friday, the Blue Jays bring some of Toronto's World Cup soccer excitement to the ballpark. The first 15,000 fans will receive an Andres Gimenez replica soccer jersey. Take note, first pitch is 7:37 p.m. Get tickets now at BlueJays.com. And you can go home with that jersey.
That time of year.
It is that time of year. It's going to be crazy in a fun way around downtown Toronto for the next couple of weeks to a month. Blue Jays got the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the 7th, could not cash in, and now 4th inning of work for Simeon Woods Richardson, who's been a huge effort, or been a huge part of the effort to keep the Blue Jays in this ball game. He's allowed 1 base runner in 10 batters faced.
He certainly made good use of his fastball, and he's been working ahead. That's always a benefit to a pitcher. You get ahead, and then you can stay the aggressor.
It's important length of the Blue Jays really have not had all year. They haven't had much of a traditional long man this season, especially with the fact that their starters have been thin already. Anyone who can pitch long has been put into the rotation or used in some form that way, like a Spencer Miles ending up being a bulk guy behind an opener. Line drive out to right field pretty deep. Lucas will make the catch on what's been a great day for him out in right field. One out.
Not routine by any means, but Nathan makes that look rather easy. The way he turns the correct way initially, cruises back toward that baseball.
Veteran right-hander Brad Keller, the typical setup man out of Don Mattingly's bullpen, is starting to get ready for the bottom of the 8th inning. And for the Blue Jays, Connor Siebold looking to get going. Woods Richardson is at 41 pitches. Swing and a miss by Real Muto. 0-2. They had said around 3 to 4 innings for him was what they wanted out of the bullpen typically when they were going to use him. And he has certainly provided a strong 3 1/3.
And I'm sure it'll go by, depending on how he pitches and his success, how they build from that. Because it's certainly valuable to have those bulk innings.
It'll be interesting to see how the Blue Jays handle some of their transactions going forward. They're going to have to make roster moves to bring Dylan Cease back on the roster, Max Scherzer, and they'd hope Shane Bieber pretty soon as well. They can't create 3 roster spots out of thin air. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Woods Richardson making a nice case for himself. 2 down.
There's that fastball again, and it's got some very good carry with his extension. That at the top of the zone. Been a very good pitch for him tonight. It's by him.
Trying to complete 4 scoreless. Pete Walker has to like what he has seen from Woods Richardson in his Blue Jays debut. Former Blue Jay farmhand dealt away to Minnesota in the Jose Barrios deal. Dealt back to the Blue Jays for cash. And he has really shown himself well in this game.
Pitch well, you gain more responsibilities and maybe more leverage innings, but just even providing the bulk innings out of the bullpen, we know how valuable that can be.
See the sweat there on the bill of the cap, almost turning the entire bill a different color of blue.
Roof is open here at the Rogers Center tonight. Beautiful day today. Was that like a near perfect day? He's coming over to the ballpark. I think I saw 23 degrees and sunny. That's
low 20s.
Perfect for me. Yeah.
Little breeze. On the ground, back to the mound. What a play. Simeon Woods Richardson with 4 scoreless innings. What a debut in a Blue Jay uniform for the right-hander. And we'll see if the Blue Jays can make it count. They're up to the bats with the top of the order coming up next. This Sunday, you could become a multi-millionaire. Plus, win a trip to see the Blue Jays in New York or groceries for a year. If you're in Alberta, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, or Ontario, get your tickets at bluejays.com/50/50. Simeon Woods Richardson putting the cherry on top of a Blue Jays debut with a great play on the backhand on that comebacker. 4 innings, scoreless, 1 hit, no walks, and the handshake there. And they got to be fired up for Simeon Woods Richardson. who I think even in the loftiest of expectations for that debut still exceeded them with his 4 shutout innings. Now the setup man for the Phillies, Brad Keller, will get ahead of Pinango, 0-2.
Keller was an arm that they brought on as a free agent, 2 years and $22 million last year with the Cubs. Had an ERA just over 2, a whip under 1, walks plus hits per innings pitched. This season, this is his 29th game. That ERA is up around 3.5 this time. But high velocity fastball, averaging over 97. 4-seamer, he'll sink it as well. Slider, change, and sweeper.
You might remember him from his long time in the American League as a starter with the Royals, but he's kind of had a second career here as a reliever. Really blossomed last year. Good take from Pinango, but got to the Cubs on a minor league deal last year. Ended up being one of their highest leverage guys, and then cashed in for 2 years, $22 million in the offseason. Payoff pitch. Just below the knees, ball 4. How about that take from the rookie Pinango? And the Blue Jays have a base runner to start the bottom of the 8th. It's a great start for most. It's a couple more runs than he's allowed in a start in over a month. Still a really good outing for Christopher Sanchez.
Well, they got to him a little bit for 2 runs. That's a really good offensive performance for most clubs against Sanchez, but they've just tried to stay and hang around in this ball game for this reason. Now Pinango with the leadoff walk. See if they can't inch a little bit closer. He came in with the Major League's leading ERA, and you see why. Now I think when you watch him throw his 7 innings.
Springer with a late swing and a fly ball deep right field into the corner. Garcia to make the catch. A one-time Gold Glover, Adolis Garcia, with a tough play there.
This ball slicing off Springer's bat into that right field corner. Not a lot of room down there before the wall beyond that right field line, but he's able to corral it.
Felt like Nathan Lucas had some strong at-bats against the left-hander Sanchez today, but not rewarded for it. 0 for 3.
We go back to that 6th inning when Pinango led off with the double. The error got into third base, and then Sanchez went about his business, striking out Springer, Lucas, and Vlad in a row. Just because it would have inched them that 1 run closer, you make this gap a little smaller.
If you're down 2, every time you get a runner on, you could tie the game. Probably changes the way a pitcher's going to attack when a runner's on.
For sure. Keller can stay on the attack here.
For Lucas, the job, get on base. And maybe you set up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as the tying run. Line drive, and that's down for a base hit. The tying run will come up to the plate for the Blue Jays for the 2nd inning in a row.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
A walk by Pinango, a fly out by Springer, and then a single by Lucas. Vladdy yet to homer at this ballpark so far this year. A take there on a slider outside after working the sinker to the inner half. 1-1.
If Vladdy could just slow things down. When you're struggling as a hitter, you tend to continue to speed things up, and you need to do the exact opposite. But it's so hard to convince yourself.
Check swing. Could hear him laying off that verbally as well. 2-1.
Saw him during batting practice this afternoon. John Schneider was throwing it, but after each round he was going around back, talking to Lou Iannotti, talking to David Popkins. They were looking at his swings and looking at how he tips the barrel. All these different mechanical pieces that he is trying to sync up and get right.
He's seen 3 sinkers and a slider. Up there is the tying run. And he strikes out on a foul tip. The sweeper outside gets him 2 down.
And until he gets back right, he's going to continue to expand and chase these pitches. But we don't see that when we see the best version of Laddie. When you're rushing and speeding up, you're not picking up the baseball real well and not picking up that spin real well.
Blue Jays home run leader Kazuma Okamoto at the plate is the tying run. He's driven in 8 in his last 9 games. And he takes a couple of tough breaking balls, setting himself up with a 2-0 hitter's count. Couple of different scenarios the Blue Jays are preparing for right now with Fisher and Nance up. Swing and a high drive deep out to left field, moving to the fence. Marsh, and he'll make the grab up against the wall. Okamoto just jammed a little bit and teases the fence with a deep fly ball. Blue Jays still trail it 5-2 going to the 9th. They enter the 9th inning trailing 5-2. Kazuma Okamoto with a deep fly ball, but could not get it out as the tying run. And now Tommy Nance back off the injured list right into a game here in the 9th inning.
Had some right forearm discomfort, spent a few weeks on the injured list. He is back, and he was on a nice roll before he was hurt. Over his last 10 games, he'd allowed just 1 run over 11 innings, and the month of May had been very good to him. 1.29 ERA in his 6 games, so hopefully he can kind of keep going like that, because this is a nice little piece to have. Yes, it's 5-2. You're down a few runs, but these are the innings you need to eat up, as Kazuma Okamoto just missed that sinker from Brad Keller.
Adolis Garcia takes a strike. He hit the 2-run homer that got the scoring started in this game. You're not going to win a lot of games with 2 runs, pardon me, but tough for the Blue Jays, because after the Garcia homer, they somewhat manufactured a rally for the Phillies with some free passes, a Phillies team that is struggling to score right now.
The 3-run third was the killer for sure. 2-0 is one thing, but when you allow them to add on, and that was the inning that Patrick Corbin just lost a lot of his command.
Tommy Nance back and strikes out the first hitter he faces. Got him on a slider, 1 out.
Tommy's got both breaking pitches to go with his sinker, the curveball and the slider, and oftentimes we'll see that curveball earlier in the count. He can flip it in there. This time he puts him away with the slider, diving away from the right-handed hitter.
First time at the plate for Justin Crawford in this game. He came in defensively a couple innings ago, substituted for Edmundo Sosa in the bottom of the 7th. Son of the 4-time All-Star, Gold Glover and Silver Slugger Carl Crawford. He's got speed, little roller. Tommy Nance have to go quick, and it's not in time. Crawford to first with an infield single. First base runner for Nance, who came in after Simeon Woods Richardson was fantastic in his Blue Jays debut.
He really was, and I thought the fastball really played for him tonight. Had good carry on that pitch, and really surprising a lot of those Phillies hitters, but did a nice job, both righties and lefties. And what a nice first impression that is. It'll be very interesting now moving forward to see how he is used. terms of bulk innings, in terms of leverage innings, lots of options, similar to what we've seen now from Spencer Miles. They're kind of almost in that same box now.
It's a complicated situation right now. If you're Tommy Nance, you got the most dangerous hitter in the lineup up at the plate, and you have a very willing base stealer on first base. Justin Crawford has 8 bags this year. Let's see Valenzuela peeking at him. Closer Duran getting loose in case it's a safe situation. Chase Sugart in case it's not. Line drive over the middle into center field. First hit for Schwarber of the night. And Joe, even if scoring 3 runs on Duran is a tall task, you'd like to get him into this game, I'd imagine, if nothing else, just to get a little work for him.
And that's why adding those single runs on it makes a big difference, because it's not just game 1 you're playing for. You're playing for game 2 and 3. Anytime you get the other team's closer up in game 1, for sure, you may lose the game, but make him work.
Worth noting, the Blue Jays, they've won 3 series in a row at home. In 2 of those 3, they lost the opener, including the series this past weekend against the Orioles, but found a way to win the next 2. Trey Turner hit hitless in the game, 0 for 3. Walk, stolen base, run scored, and a caught stealing. That was a big moment in the game. Tyler Heineman caught him stealing in the 4th.
I think Tommy will stay with that slider away.
Ground ball over the middle. Clement goes to second for 1, and that's an inning-ending double play. Tommy Nance comes back, gets his scoreless frame, and the Blue Jays will look to stage a big comeback in the bottom of the 9th. You're watching Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. Under the night sky in Toronto, the Blue Jays go into the bottom of the 9th inning, looking for what would be a very dramatic comeback at Rogers Center. Not only dramatic because 3 runs in the 9th is typically tough, but one of the best closers in all of baseball is on the mound in Joan Duran.
21 games for Duran this season. He retired all 3 hitters he faced for the 5th straight game on Friday against the White Sox for his 15th save of the year. 5 walks and 33 strikeouts in his 22 thirds innings.
If you missed it earlier, last Blue Jays run came back in the 5th inning. Ernie Clement, who's got a ton of extra base power this year, hit his 7th home run of the season. It was his 27th extra base hit.
It's hard to get a hit off Christopher Sanchez. It's really hard to get the ball up in the air off Christopher Sanchez. Ernie did both of those things, finding the seats in left center field.
An American League leading 79 hits on the year for Ernie Clement. Blue Jays in their 67th game. Bit of a stumble there after the first pitch, and checking the cleats right now. Hound was fine during warm-up, but trapdoor pulled out on him, it seems, on the first one.
He's got to find that landing spot. When you're the closer, you're coming in after several pitchers have used that mound in the game. You could have all kinds of different landing spots happening. He averages over 100 miles per hour with his fastball.
And that was actually his splitter, or some would call it a splinker. It's kind of a mix in between a splitter and sinker. That time, chopper on the ground at third. Bowen throws across in a backhanded dig by Harper. He's had a couple of big picks today, and that's a huge one to make it 1 out rather than a leadoff base runner.
It's a splitter, but because it's 96, 97, 98 miles per hour, it's kind of a combination with a sinker because it's so hard That's where the funny nickname of Splinker came from, but he is one tough customer.
Not to be confused with his changeup that moves like a splitter at 89, or his fastball, like you mentioned, Joe, that averages triple digits. It's a huge ad last year in a trade from Minnesota. Andres Gimenez goes around on that pitch, 0-1. He has converted all 15 of the save opportunities he's had this year around a brief IL stint in late April. More production than most today for the Blue Jays against Christopher Sanchez, but still the bar for scoring anything against him is pretty high.
It doesn't get any easier in this series, Zach Wheeler, tomorrow night, but it's going to be up to the Blue Jays pitching to really limit this Phillies offense. They've got to find a way to really keep them down. You can't give up 5 when you're facing a Sanchez or a Wheeler or a Luzardo for that mark.
For the Blue Jays' ups and downs offensively, if you weren't with us earlier, they're 21st in baseball, tied for it in run scoring coming into this game. Phillies are 25th in runs per game, but they capitalized on some command issues early for Patrick Corbin and scored 5 in the first 3 innings. Line drive, and that's a fair ball. Andres Gimenez around first base. He's chugging for second. Here comes the throw from Marsh, and it's behind the runner Gimenez. Traffic for the Blue Jays. 9th double of the year for Andres Gimenez.
Well, Gimenez can really flatten that swing out, and he does just that. On a 100-mile-per-hour fastball off the outside edge.
So the Blue Jays have 1 on. They'll need to get another on base to get the tying run to the plate, and off the bench comes Jesus Sanchez. He'll hit for Miles Straw. Blue Jays have brought the tying run up in each of the last 2 innings.
One more base runner brings Mr. Valenzuela to the plate.
This crowd trying to will the Blue Jays into it here. Sanchez with a bouncer to first. Harper charging. The Blue Jays down to their last chance here. There are 2 outs as Gimenez advances to third. It's a splinker over the middle, but doesn't make it easy to hit.
A little less velocity than the fastball, and obviously a little bit more movement. That one going down a bit. Even though it catches a lot of the plate, tough when you're gearing up for the 100+ mile-an-hour heater. It's just amazing to me the velocity that he gets on that pitch with the movement.
First pitch swing and another chopper to first, and that will do it. The Phillies hold on, scoring 5 early to beat the Blue Jays in the opener, 5-2.
It's a tough go for the Blue Jays in game 1. You knew this was going to be a tough one going up against the left-hander Christopher Sanchez. There is a reason why he is leading the major leagues in ERA. Bryce Harper and the Phillies come in and take game 1, and the Blue Jays just got to gather it back up. And as they've done in the past, try to take the next 2 to win another series.
They will hope to do so against Zach Wheeler tomorrow. We expect Dylan Cease to make his return on what should be a very fun day. Appreciate you tuning in tonight from Hazel May, Joe Siddle, and our great crew. I'm Ben Schulman. Time now for Sportsnet Central, presented by KFC. Here's Ken and Ivanka.